We begin tonight with a growing scandal regarding a sitting MP's comments. Over the weekend, news broke out that in an interview in January, Liberal MP Paul Chiang suggested that his Conservative opponent, Joe Tay, should be handed over to the Chinese consulate for a bounty. When asked about removing Mr. Chiang, Mark Carney confirmed that he will continue as a candidate. Our correspondent Wyatt Sharpe has more on the scandal.
Paul Chiang, the Member of Parliament for the riding of Markham-Unionville, who is seeking re-election as the Liberal Party candidate, has been facing some hot water in recent days for one specific issue, which really has to do with comments that he made regarding a bounty offered by the Chinese government on a Canadian citizen. Chiang is a former police officer with a lengthy service record. He has apologized for what he described as deplorable remarks that were, quote, a complete lapse of judgment. But it does have people wondering, given in previous election campaigns, we've saw parties dismiss candidates for certainly much less. If you think back to the 2021 election campaign, where the Conservative Party even got rid of a number of candidates in really competitive ridings where the party at the time had a chance of winning over things like comments on vaccinations or COVID-19. And so you have a lot of Conservatives right now who are frustrated at the Liberal Party for not dismissing Paul Chiang as the Liberal Party candidate in Markham-Unionville over these pretty serious remarks. This particular statement, though, also came amid widespread criticism from political figures from various political parties who were condemning his comments, but also talking about election interference as well. And of course, right now, Canada and China do not have the best of relationships because of how tense things have been with respect to election interference in 2021. And so in many respects, this only further heighten some of those challenges that we have seen. You know, Chiang's political career itself has been notable for his engagement with the Chinese Canadian community in Markham. And so especially in recent days, you've been hearing a lot of people, even within his own community, step out and, say that he should perhaps consider stepping down as a party candidate. We're also not getting any indications from the Liberal Party that they are potentially considering dismissing him as a party candidate. At least as of right now, the party is fully supporting him in the same way they are for many of their other candidates. And so despite this controversy, Chiang is expected to continue with his re-election campaign, really focusing on some of his past contributions to things like community safety. He was a parliamentary secretary under the Trudeau government, which ultimately allowed him to contribute to kind of the governing aspect of the Liberal Party, to people like the emergency preparedness minister, among other ministries as well. He's highlighted over the course of kind of this back and forth some of his contributions to his but also to his country via things like the dental care plan and initiatives to reduce auto thefts, which are, of course, very high in his community of Markham and across the country as well. And just lastly, to conclude here with kind of the response to what he had said, especially, I mentioned from Conservatives, but also kind of the response that has come to his subsequent apology that he offered. They're likely to play kind of a significant role in what happens next. You've certainly seen in other cases when people have been let go from a political party, there's almost a certain naivety to the situation where they refuse to apologize for what they've done. That's not really the case in this situation. And so a lot of people are kind of attributing that to why Paul Chiang has been allowed to stay on as the Liberal Party candidate. And then, of course, this incident as well really has been kind of highlighting the delicate balance, so to speak, between politicians and how they must kind of, maintain that balance when dealing with international issues, which especially right now, given kind of the tense geopolitical situation, a lot of elected officials are kind of grappling with how do we kind of, embrace our local communities, represent our local communities, while also grappling with some of the tensions that are currently being seen overseas right now. And Paul Chiang is certainly an example of someone who perhaps was unable to balance those two realities effectively.